It was a weekend of celebration in the ATL as the Braves had their ring ceremonies from their 2021 World Series championship, and they split a four-game series with the Cincinnati Reds. We'll get into some positives and negatives from that weekend series and preview the upcoming national series as well on today's episode of Lockedon Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of the Locked On Sports Atlanta podcast network. I am your host, Jake Mastroianni. You can follow me on Twitter at shortstopball. Check out my bio there to see everywhere I am covering the game of baseball, including your Atlanta Braves in written form over at tomahawktake.com. Also, make sure you follow the podcast on Twitter at lockedon_Braves and subscribe to the Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube as well. And thank you for making Locked On Braves your first listen each and every day. Posting episodes daily, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. So baseball season is underway. The Braves got a series split of a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds over the weekend. We're going to dive into all of that, give you some of my positives and negatives from the weekend, and then we'll also get into the Nationals series that will be starting up on a Monday night. But just my overall thoughts from the opening weekend. Look, I heard Charlie Morton talk about it. I heard Brian Snitker talk about it. They wanted to give the players and the fans a chance in this series to celebrate what happened in 2021. And there's a ton of distractions, a lot of things going on. And the Braves still came away with a series split against a team in the Reds who I know are rebuilding, but they still have a very good foundation of a team there and some players coming up as well. Jonathan India, the reigning NL Rookie of the Year. We saw Hunter Green on Sunday, one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball. And, of course, they have a future Hall of Famer in Joey Votto. Tyler Mahley's a really good pitcher as well. This is a Reds team that I was surprised sold off what they had. Obviously, they did it because of budget constraints, but they had the pieces there to be a really good team. And I think a lot of people may sleep on them this season because of that. But there's still some really good pieces there until they trade off the rest of those as well. But still, considering all the distractions going on over the weekend, the celebrations, to be able to get a split of a 4-game series, I'm okay with that. We've seen the Braves have worse starts to a regular season and turn out okay. So getting a series split at home with everything going on against a Reds team that, like I said, has some very good players on that team still, that is certainly fine with me. Now, as again, Charlie Morton and Brian Snitker pointed out too, now we kind of get into the 2022 season. Get kind of all these celebrations, ring ceremonies, pennant being raised, all of that behind. Now let's focus on 2022 and winning that division again. But before I do, that ring, I'm telling you, I really want to drive back over to Atlanta tonight to get one of those replica rings. Hopefully you'll be there to grab one. Although I've heard they're going to give out more of these throughout the season, so you may have another chance. But that ring that the players received is pretty awesome. I love the pearl on there. I thought that was a great touch. Sounds like Jock Peterson had a lot to do with the design of it, which makes sense with all the flair that he has. But I love that pearl in the middle of the World Series trophy there, the lights on the inside, everything about it. It's an amazing looking ring, a really cool design there. So that was a lot of fun on Saturday and on Sunday as well, as they delivered some to the broadcast team as well. But let's get into the positives from the weekend for the Atlanta Braves. And I thought there were more positives than negatives, honestly. And the biggest positive for me is Matt Olson. And I talked about it coming in. So important for him to get off to a good start with a new team in a new city, replacing a franchise legend. And you couldn't have asked for a better start to his career in Atlanta. He got the big standing ovation on Thursday night, which I talked about after that game. I thought that was great, kind of his welcoming from the fan base to a new team. And then he just went off after that. Didn't get a hit in that first game, but got 2 walks, but then got 8 hits in the final 3 games of this series. Went 8 for 14 overall, 2 doubles, got his first home run as an Atlanta Brave on Sunday. Probably could have had a couple once the weather heats up. He hit a couple of balls I thought should have gotten out. Had 3 walks again over the weekend. Thrown out at the plate twice. 2 perfect relays. Look, Wash is going to send. Wash is always going to be an aggressive sender at third base. I question the first one. Didn't really think it was necessary to send him there. The second time he sent him, you got to there with 2 outs. It was going to take a perfect relay to get him, and that's exactly what the Reds did. I think it was a 101 mile per hour throw from Aristides Aquino. So, I mean, just a perfect relay. Just unfortunate for Matt Olson, but it made for some good comedy on Sunday as well. You don't have to run when you hit a ball over the fence like he did. Hopefully we'll see more of that going forward. And also a couple of nice scoops at first base for him defensively. You can see already the Braves infielders are just comfortable, slinging the ball over there to him, knowing he's going to pick it, knowing you got that big target over there, similar to what they had with Freddie Freeman. So I wanted to point that out as well. I thought he did a very nice job with the glove too. And then his lineup mate hitting right behind him, Austin Riley, 5 for 13 over the weekend, a double, a home run, 3 walks, and just 1 strikeout. I mean, Austin Riley, I hate to overreact here from 4 games, but one of my questions coming into this year is, can Austin Riley repeat his 2021 performance? And just looking at the quality of at-bats, the pitches that he's laying off of, he seems to have answered that question in 4 games. So what a great weekend for Austin Riley. I thought he was tremendous at the plate. Again, some key walks, especially in that second game of the series. After he had the 3-hit game on Thursday, he didn't get a hit in that Friday game, but a really key walk to start off that third inning rally where they went on to score 5 runs, took a really close 3-2 slider. So really good stuff from Austin Riley early on. And then Marcell Ozuna, didn't know what to expect from him, not playing much last year. He has stung the baseball to start this season. He has an average exit velocity of 94.2 miles per hour. He is almost averaging a hard hit every time he puts the bat on the ball, a hard hit percentage of 61.5%. Again, he is just terrorizing the baseball, has had some unfortunate luck. That ball he hit on Thursday night that Tyler Mahle caught, I was looking in the outfield wondering where's the ball going, and then I looked back to the infield. I thought Tyler Mahle was dead because I thought the ball hit him, and then it turns out he actually somehow caught that baseball. So Ozuna's had some bad luck, but he has been hitting the ball really well. Still got 4 hits, 2 doubles over the weekend, 1 walk, and just 2 strikeouts. So really good start for Marcell Ozuna. On the pitching side, talk about trying not to get too excited. Kyle Wright, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. And the batter that he walked was the last batter that he faced. He went back out for the 7th inning and walked the leadoff batter. And then A.J. Minter came in and was able to get out of that jam. That was a pretty big spot in what ended up being a really close game. But, man, Kyle Wright, I mean, so impressive in that first spot. Showed me everything I needed to see from him, being aggressive in the zone, confident on the mound. Just an amazing start from Kyle Wright. If this can please be the Kyle Wright that we get every 5th day this year, what a big boost that would be for the Atlanta Braves in this rotation. So you're going to need to see more of it. He's going to have to continue to back this up. But for one start and his first start, it couldn't have been much better than what we saw from Kyle Wright on Saturday. And then Charlie Morton, getting back out there after breaking his leg in the World Series. He was great. He was the Charlie Morton we saw before that. So that is certainly a great sign. Didn't necessarily expect anything less from Charlie, but wanted to see it again after the injury. 5 1/3, 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts for Charlie on Friday night in a win for the Braves. So those are the positives from the weekend, but it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine on opening weekend. And next, we'll talk about the biggest negatives from the Reds series. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting, stats, and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, as I said, it was not all pretty for the Braves over the weekend. Obviously, in a split, you're going to have some negative performances. The biggest one for me was Ian Anderson and the 5 walks. And walks have been a problem for him at times, command, consistency. He has largely, I shouldn't say mostly, largely been successful because of his wildness at times, effectively wild, as they called it, as Dusty Baker called it in his World Series start even. And it plays for him, but when batters aren't chasing that changeup down and out of the zone, then he can get himself in trouble at times. And I mentioned it on the postcast, which if you're not subscribed to Locked On Atlanta, Locked On Sports Atlanta, you can see the postcast for me and Grant McCauley over there that we're doing after every game this season. But I talked about the postcast on that postcast before that game that I was really concerned about Ian Anderson going in to this start. He had a bit of a weird spring training. He had a rain out, and then he got kind of roughed up and didn't make it long in that start against the Red Sox. And then in his final start, he didn't get to go very deep either because of the injury on his foot. So I don't feel like he really got a great spring training. I feel like he's behind the other pitchers right now, and I think you saw that in his start on over the weekend on Sunday. Is just he was struggling with his command. He hasn't found that release point yet. He is still kind of working through those things that you would normally work out in spring training. So I'm not worried about him long term. I think he'll be fine. That start just in particularly, I was already concerned about just because of the way his spring training kind of went. And I don't feel like he got enough time, enough preparation for the regular season. I feel like he's still trying to get back to that point of where he needs to be, and he'll get there. I'm not worried about it at all. But certainly was one of the bigger negatives over the weekend, as that pretty much decided that game on Sunday. One of my other negatives is Dansby Swanson. And look, you could pick on a lot of people in this lineup outside of the guys I mentioned at the top in Riley, Olson, Ozuna. Nobody else really hit over the weekend, but it was just a type of at-bats that Dansby Swanson was having that are concerning for me. 8 strikeouts and 12 at-bats, and just looking lost at the plate at times was not a good look for Dansby Swanson over the weekend. And again, this is a big year for Dansby, and I'm his biggest supporter. I've said I think he's going to have a huge year, and certainly this is one series, 4 games. I'm not changing that tone right now, but it was not a great start for him in a season that's going to be overanalyzed by fans, by the team, as well as they decide what they want to do with him going forward. It's very important for him to get off to a good start, and it was not a good look over the weekend. Did pick up a couple of hits, which is more than Ozzie Albies or Eddie Rosario, but still, it was the at-bats that you saw from Dansby that they were not good. They were not competitive at-bats at times that has you a little bit worried. And 8 strikeouts and 12 at-bats, that's not great. And Dansby's got to figure that out. He's got to get going here. I look for him to be a key contributor at the bottom of that lineup and to turn things over for the top of the order. And we just really need him to get going. Same can be said for Adam Duvall, another one of my negatives. He did have a couple of hits over the weekend, which again was more than Ozzie and Eddie, but just some terrible at-bats. And I said all offseason that Duvall scares me coming into this year. Yes, you're going to get the power numbers from him, but he is slashing 229, 286 over the last 3 years. That is a very low batting average, which I know people don't look at batting average as much as they used to, but that's very low. 286 is just a terribly low on-base percentage. This guy does not hit consistently. He does not get on base consistently. He will give you 30 home runs if you give him the at-bats, and that's maybe the type of player, type of game that this Braves offense and lineup is going to succeed under, as they did last year. But, if he's not getting those home runs with runners on base, he's not getting them in key moments, he's not getting on base enough to really help out the rest of the lineup. I just really worry about Adam Duvall this year, having him as kind of that centerpiece in the middle of an order. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Adam Duvall fan. I'll just put it out there. I like the guy as more of a role player, a guy that comes in, situationally. But I don't know. Call me old school if you want to. I just don't love the 229, 286 slash for the batting average and on base. The home runs are coming. They're great, and they will come. But I would like somebody with a little bit more consistency that can get on base. And he's going to have those bad at bats that just in big spots sometimes that just make you scratch your head. And I think we saw some of that over the weekend. And then this one isn't a negative. This one was kind of in a one that's in the middle for me, but I wanted to mention it. And that's Colin McHugh. Obviously a rough introduction to Atlanta on Thursday night, giving up that big home run to Brandon Drury that, again, pretty much decided that game. What a nice bounce back for him on Sunday, though, keeping the Braves in that game late in the inning or late in the outing. So a really good bounce back from him. I think we got to see the Colin McHugh that the Braves signed that we'll more likely see going forward. So that was one that started as a negative, ended as a positive for me. Good to see Colin McHugh bounce back with a nice outing. All right, now with most of the 2021 celebration behind them, the Braves turn their attention to NL East foe in the Washington Nationals. We'll preview that series next. You already know about Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar out there right now. And not only are they great tasting with some of my personal favorites like mint brownie, peanut butter brownie, cookies and cream, but they are also great for you as well. Most of them only have about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. So go to built.com right now. Check out all the new flavors that they're constantly updating there. And when you're checking out, use our promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. The Atlanta Braves are already off to a better start than in 2021, getting the series split against the Cincinnati Reds. And now they remain at home with a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals, a team predicted to be the worst team in the NL East. They lost a 4-game series to the New York Mets over the weekend. They avoided getting swept with a 4-2 win on Sunday. And now they come to Atlanta, and this is the series the Braves have to win. I said I would take the split with the Reds because of all the distractions and everything going on. This is the series now. The Braves got to win, and this is all season long. You got to take advantage of these series, especially in the NL East. This is a team that the Braves should beat. They need to beat, especially at home. This is a series they need to at least win, if not sweep. So taking no prisoners in this series, going all out, putting 2021 behind them. Time to focus on 2022 and get a series win. Looking at the pitching matchup, the Nationals have not announced who they're going to be throwing in this series yet. On Monday, it's looking like Huascar Ynoa will pitch for the Braves. That we know. Anibal Sanchez was supposed to start for the Nationals, but is now listed as doubtful. Nationals beat writer Jesse Darty thinks that they could call up Josh Rogers. Rogers had a 3.28 ERA and 6 starts for the Nats last year with a 1.290 whip. So we could be seeing a spot starter for the Nationals on Monday against Huascar Ynoa. Really big start for Huascar as well. Similar to Kyle Wright, Ynoa trying to prove that he belongs in the rotation. Obviously, Ynoa was huge for the Braves last year at the beginning of the season. Really carried that rotation early on. Hopefully we get to see that good Ynoa back this year. So a good big start for him on Monday night. Tuesday, we don't know who is pitching for either side in that one. We could likely see Patrick Corbin from the Nationals. He started their opening day, so we could see him in that game. I would think the Braves would be in a pretty good spot against the lefty with all the righties they have. and with Matt Olson also crushing lefties. So I think that would be a favorable matchup. However, we don't know who's pitching for the Braves yet. I think it's going to be Tucker Davidson. I think it could be a combination of Tucker Davidson and Spencer Strider. Interesting that Strider was up in the bullpen on Sunday's game. That again would lead me to believe that Tucker Davidson is going to get the start on Tuesday night. But again, I think you'll see some sort of combination. Also will depend on how long Huascar Ynoa goes on Monday. If he doesn't go very long, then perhaps Spencer Strider has to come into that game to eat up some of the middle innings. But right now, as things stand, I think it's the combination of Tucker Davidson and Spencer Strider on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, an afternoon game. Looks like Max Fried will continue as a starter for that one for the Braves. Could be Josiah Gray for the Nationals. Good young pitcher there that they got in that trade with the Dodgers last offseason. So that would be a very good pitching matchup if it does indeed end up Gray versus Max Fried. But whatever the case, the Braves have to win this series. The one key for them, can't let Juan Soto beat you in this series. Very important that you make sure he comes up with nobody on base. If he does come up with somebody on base, make sure that you don't give him a chance to hit a multi-homer. Pitch around Juan Soto if you have to. Do not let him beat you in this series. Pitch to anybody else in that lineup other than Juan Soto. But I do think the Braves come away with at least a series win in this one, and hopefully a sweep as well. But should be another exciting series for the Atlanta Braves. We'll have it all covered for you here on Locked On Braves. We'll also have it on the Locked On Braves postcast with me and Grant McCauley, so make sure you check that out as well. But that will do it for this episode of Locked On Braves. Be sure to follow us on LockedOn_Braves on Twitter. You can follow me at ShortstopBall. Also, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast, and we will talk to you next time.